Hello my PokePadawans and hello PPL fans, this is week 8 of the Miami Rotom-Heat battles. This week we are against the Portland Timburrs. This time it's... we're against the Portland Timburrs this time, and he's got a pretty interesting team. He's got... let me just pull up the list really quickly and I'll go through the Pokemon that he's got on his team. I've tried to go through the planning process very carefully and plan out. I've tried to be serious with this because it's Ethan's team, and I kind of want to do it proud sort of thing. I don't want to be my usual sort of muck about, use weird sets, you know, and just have a laugh with it sort of thing. This is like Ethan's team, and I want to make a good go of it. Obviously, I'm gonna bring my own spin. I'm not Ethan. I'm me. You know, I'm never gonna be the same player. But you know, I'm trying to be a bit more calculating in my calculations and such. So I've been running through. I've been doing a few calcs, trying to work out what Pokemon I expect him to bring. Trying to look at my team from his angle, and then his team from my angle, you know, plan everything out accordingly. So anyway, on the Portland Timburrs, we've got Slyroh, Thundurus Incarnate, Politoed, Goodra, Kingdra, Amoonguss, Toxicroak, Meowstic, Male, Mamoswine, Armaldo, and Frogadier. Now the ones that stick out for me initially are Thundurus, and Amoonguss is another one. Amoonguss really sticks out to me, and also Goodra, not so much Goodra, but more Politoed and Kingdra for that Rain Dance Swift Swim core. Well, I say core, but that Rain Dance offensive, it's a very rainy team. I mean, you've got Mamoswine, takes its damage from fire in the rain, but then it has thick fat as well. So Toxicroak gets dry skin, Amoonguss takes its damage from fire, Thundurus gets 100% accuracy thunder. So yeah, I mean, Slyroh, everything in his team benefits from rain, so I've tried to take that into account. I expect him to bring the rain. I am expecting him to bring the rain. So I've tried to act accordingly and plan out a team that will do well. So let's go through the Pokemon that I brought. The first Pokemon on the team is Forretress. Forretress is making a return. Pretty much the same set as last week, 252 HP, 248 special defense, 8 special attack, just to give that Volt Switch a little extra kick. Stealth Rocks, because the rocks are going to be helpful against Thundurus. They'll do decent damage again. It stops me switching a lot basically. It's mostly Thundurus that doesn't like the rocks, but it really helps to have the rocks up in the battle, because it's going to stop switching. He's going to take chip damage, he's going to break Sashes, which is a potential on Frogadier and Mamoswine. So, yeah. Forretress, especially defensive, sturdy, bold nature. Bold, just to give it a tiny bit of defense as well, so we can take maybe an Earthquake from Mamo. I don't know, because it is a neutral hit. Next on the team is Keldeo. Keldeo this week has a calm mindset. We've done away with that yet. Because it doesn't really do too much, to be honest. It did barely anything last week, and Substitute Calm Mind seemed to be the way to go. So Substitute Calm Mind, Secret Sword, Hydro Pump. We've got 252 special attack speed, 4 special defense, just to try and take maybe a Thunderbolt a little bit better. Not that we really want to be taking those anyway, but you know, it's there. It's there. Obviously, thinking with this, get beyond a substitute, set up Calm Mind, and pound this team into submission. That's the thinking with this set. Keldeo does a lot of work as well. I mean, it kills Mamoswine with Secret Sword. It can kill a lot of his non-water types with Hydro Pump, and then finish off the water types themselves with Secret Sword. The only thing that really poses a major threat to it is Thundurus, to be honest. So yeah. Next on the team is Klefki. Klefki bringing the screens for that defense to give the team a little more protection. We've got the spikes, reflect, light screen, and dazzling gleam is there for Kingdra. I didn't count damage on Kingdra. I think it's a 3-hit KO that one invested, so that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Reflects light screen again. Like I said, we've got the screens. We've got leftovers for that little bit of recovery as well. Max special defense again because there's a lot of special defense on his team with Thundurus, Politoed, Kingdra, Frogadier. He's got Mamo, which kind of scares us with the Earthquake, but if we get a Reflect up, it makes it a 3-hit KO, which isn't bad. And we won't really be staying in on Earthquakes anyway. Spikes, because spike stacking will be immensely useless. No, immensely useful is what it will be. Next on the team we have Mega Lopunny. Mega Lopunny, of course, is one of the main spearheads of the team. Is the punch of the team. 252 attack, 252 speed, adamant nature to give it as much punch as possible. 4 special defense again to try and take a hit a little bit better, maybe a skull or something in the rain. Scrappy nature, can't change that. Can't change. There's no mega nature or mega abilities. So yeah, scrappy. You can hit ghost, but he didn't have any anyway. So fake out, high jump kick, return, and thunder punch. I decided to bring the return this week because I don't see any major burn threats on his team. So I brought the return over the facade because it is more powerful. Thunder punch is there to hit those water types a bit better. High jump kick is powerful, and fake out is for that first turn priority, just to get that little bit of chip damage on things. And who knows, might even kill a Sashmon that's survived at 1 HP if I can't get the hazards up. Next on the team, Talonflame. Talonflame again is very offensive. It can do a lot of work for this team. Brave Bird, obviously priority attack. Overheat, so to go for overheat because he didn't want to stack too much recoil damage onto it. Brave Bird, Flare Blitz are fantastic moves, but it really does nothing for Talonflame's longevity. So I wanted to bring moves that could possibly keep it around long. So I've gone Brave Bird, Overheat, Roost to hopefully get some HP back to the front, and then Will-O-Wisp. We can get the burn off on maybe Sizzle or Mamoswine and reduce the damage that they will be doing. And the final Pokemon on this team is Yanmega, making its first appearance under my coachship, leadership, under my lead. So yeah, this is the first time I use Yanmega with this team. Giga Drain, Air Slash, Protect, Ancient Power. Ancient Power is there specifically for Thundurus. Giga Drain's obviously for the water types, and Air Slash is for everything else. Basically, that's basically we've got Modest, 252 attack and speed, which is the only set to run. It's the only spread to run with the Yanmega. I did O an R over the timid to modest nature, but with the speed boost, I really don't think it needs the timid nature. I'd rather have the little bit of extra special attack power with the modest, and it's got Lung Barrier because we really don't want that Prankster T-Wave from either Meowstic or Thundurus, because that could really screw us up. So that's the team. That is the team. I'm hoping we'll do well, but we'll just have to wait and see. So with that, let's get to the battle. Okay, so here's the battle against RTK. He brought a little bit of a different team than I was expecting. He brought Goodra, Meowstic, Mamoswine, Sizzle, Frogadier, and Thundurus. So there was actually no rain. But yeah, so this is the battle. Let's get right into it. So here we go. This was an interesting game. So here we are. RTK is issuing a challenge. I opened up with Blackie Chang because it was the safest lead I got. I can scout out with Fake Out, see what they wanted to do. Well, kind of. Get some chip damage with Fake Out at least. Mega Evolve on the first turn. I think it's the best lead I had for this match. Thundurus was pretty obvious lead on his end. So we go for the first turn Fake Out. I was expecting a Prankster T-Wave. He goes for the Protect, which I wasn't expecting, to be fair. Protect's fairly uncommon in singles, but it makes sense for it to expect the first turn Fake Out. So I switch into Klefki here, not wanting to be T-waved, and think to myself, take the opportunity to get some spikes up. He goes for the Psychic, so I'm glad I switched because I didn't want to take that damage would not want to take a super effective hit off this thing. We go for some spikes. Start laying down those hazards, because any of the residual damage that we can get on his Pokemon is certainly wonderful. He goes for a T-Bolt, and this actually does more damage than I would have thought. This is especially defensively invested Klefki after all, so it does a bit more damage than I would have liked. So at this, I think at this turn, I go for a Light Screen. He switches out into Scizor. Takes some damage from the spikes. Yeah, so I go for the Light Screen, wanting to lessen the damage from another T-Bolt if he'd gone for it. Obviously he didn't, he went into Scizor. And he then goes for the Defog to get rid of those spikes. And I learned something that I didn't know. I knew that Defog got rid of spikes. I put a Reflect, expecting him to do like a neutral bullet punch or something after the Defog. I didn't realise the Defog also removes screens. I didn't know that because I'm a derp. So our screens are gone and our hazards are gone, so all Klefki's work has been for nothing. So that's kind of unfortunate. At least we've been getting some health back with the leftovers though. He switches out Scizor. I kind of expected him to do that, so I went for another layer of spikes. And he brings in Mamoswine. Now I don't want to be staying in a Mamoswine because an Earthquake is practically going to kill Klefki. I think I calced it and it works out to about 85% from a max attack Mamoswine. So I switch out, go into Let's Go Bowling, because I did expect it to go for the Stealth Rocks. The Stealth Rocks are very important against my team because I've got Talonflame, I've got Yanmega. I was obviously going to bring one or the other, so rocks are important for him. I went into Fortress, not wanting to keep those up, and go straight for the Rapid Spin. He then brings in Goodra. Now I expected Mamoswine to stay in, so I actually went for a counter to try and kill it with its own power. Unfortunately it didn't though, it switched out. So I haven't managed to spin the rock toy because I don't want to sit in on a flamethrower from this thing. So unfortunately the rocks are set up. I switch out, bring in Blackie Chan, and he gets a burn on me as soon as I come out, which is really unfortunate because Blackie Chan was going to be the one to deal most of the damage to this thing, and now it's burned and it's practically useless. So now he brings in Thundurus, obviously expecting a high jump kick. It does nothing, absolutely nothing. This Thundurus is actually pretty bulky and delivers some good powered hits. So I withdraw Blackie Chan, not wanting to stay in and just sack it off for no reason. I go into Let's Go Boulder to try and get rid of these rocks. I need to get rid of the rocks because it's stopping Talonflame and Yanmega from coming in. He hits us with a Thunderbolt, and again it does way too much damage, even though we're special defensively invested. It does way too much damage. The leftovers does mean we could take another one, and he switches out at this point and goes straight back into Goodra, wanting to go for that flamethrower to get rid of this thing. It does threaten us out, but not before we go for the Rapid Spin and get rid of the rocks. So that was good for us. He gets the GUI, we get the GUI drop, but honestly we're not bothered about a speed drop on Fortress, because Fortress isn't here to be fast, it's here to get rid of rocks and lay its own. So we get a little bit of leftovers recovery. Obviously expecting a flamethrower, I switch out Fortress and I come back in with Blackie Chan just to sack it off because I don't want anything to take a free hit. He goes for a Dragon Pulse. He might have been expecting the Talonflame switch going from Dragon Pulse because it's not resisted like the flamethrower would be. So the Dragon Pulse takes down Blackie Chan and Talonflame can come in. Hopefully get a Brave Bird off. He sees through this, it switches into Thundurus, who takes absolutely no damage from a Life Orb Brave Bird. That's Life Orb Brave Bird. Adamant Life Orb Brave Bird. I know it's resisted, but still. So he gets some leftovers recovery. Again, I don't want to stay in. I don't want to be taking those Thunderbolts because Talonflame's not going to enjoy that. Switch straight back into Let's Go Bowlers. See if I can get some rocks up. He hits us with a Thunderbolt, brings us down to 29 health. We get a little bit leftover recovery. I was thinking, because this thing was so bulky, because it seems to be quite bulky and quite powerful, that maybe it got no speed investment. So I go straight up for Stealth Rocks, but I think Thunderous still outspeeds Fortress even at base level, so it was kind of stupid on my part. So that was a bit of a misplay. So we've lost Fortress now. I come in with Klefki, because Klefki can at least get some spikes up. And we can also go for some screens to try and lessen the damage of that Thunderbolt. He switches straight into Sizzle though. Does take some spikes damage, but it's got the leftovers, so it's not going to matter much. We go for the light screen again, like I said, wanting to lessen the damage from the Thunderbolt. And he goes straight for the Defog, I think, at this point, after the leftovers recovery. There's a lot of leftovers recovery in this game. A lot. I think about half of my ones are carrying leftovers. I think 2 or 3 of his Pokemon were carrying leftovers as well. I go for the Reflect, he goes for the Defog, making all the screens useless. I mean, I can't do anything to this thing at the moment with Draining Kiss, and I don't want to bring anything in to take a Technician Bullet Punch. Even Keldeo doesn't really want to be taken out. I think it's resisted. I think it might be 4 times resisted actually. But even so, I want to keep Keldeo as healthy as possible. So he actually switches out at this point, which I kind of expected to do. Scissors does his job and it could go straight back out. So I at this point go straight for a light screen because I thought Thunderous would come back in. It doesn't. Mamoswine comes in instead. So we really don't want to be staying in on this thing because, again, of the Earthquake. So I switch out, go straight into Talonflame, expecting him to go for the Stealth Rocks. I'd rather get it in before the rocks are up, but he actually goes straight up for an Earthquake. I at this point go for an Overheat. This is Life Orb Overheat, only 4 investment mind, and it doesn't even bring this thing down to a Sash, if indeed it has one. Which is unfortunate. I thought it might have been able to kill it, and it allows it to get a Rock Slide off, which takes down Talonflame. So we've now lost Talonflame and Blackie-chan and Fortress. We're down to half our team. I bring in Bouge at this point with the Yanmega, go for the Ancient Power. I thought he might switch into Thunderous, which is why I went for the Ancient Power of a Giga Drain, and he didn't. He lives by the tiniest sliver of health. I don't even get a boost from Ancient Power, which kind of sucks a little bit. We do get the speed boost though. And then he hits us with Ice Shard. For reference, I was actually considering running the Quick Attack on Yanmega, and it actually would have come in useful there, but what are you going to do? It's a bit of a situational thing. We get the Ancient Power off, finish off Yanmega, but not before we've been knocked down to half health. We are at +2 speed, but it's not gonna avail us too much. We go for the Ancient Power on Thunderous here, and it brings it down to about half health, just below half, and then it can just finish us off. We can finish off Yanmega with a Thunderbolt. I'm not sure if we'd have lived a Thunderbolt if we'd been at full health, but I think we might have, but not by much. But again, then he could have just pranked the T-Waved us. We'd have got the Lum off. Yeah. So I switched it to Klefki anyway, thinking that I don't really want to be bringing anything else to take a hit off this thing. Keldeo is the only other thing I've got. So I'll bring in Klefki, and then I pull a double switch into Keldeo, because I expected him to switch into Scizor. You can't really do much to Keldeo. He actually switches into Goodra, which was unfortunate because these things tend to carry the Thunderbolt themselves. Fortunately, Keldeo is faster than Goodra, so I can just go straight up for a substitute. He actually switches straight into Meowstic. At this point I'm thinking, great, I'm behind the sub, this thing can't prankster us or anything. It can't hit us with T-Wave, it can't charm us, it can't do anything. I can just sit behind the sub, get a Calm Mind up, and deal some damage, maybe make a late game combat with Keldeo. So I go for the Calm Mind, get the boost, sat behind a sub, and this happens. Yep, that's right guys, Infiltrator Meowstic. I found out afterwards that this was 2 specs Infiltrator Meowstic, made specifically for Substitute Carmine Keldeo. Yeah. So that's pretty much the game at that point, to be honest. All I've got left is Klefki. He's got 5 Pokemon, one of which has got Flamethrower. So not a lot I can do. I just come in, get up what screens I can, get the light screen up, so I knew the Flamethrower was coming. So we're sat behind screens now. We've got leftovers, but he can just wear us down with the Flamethrower. I mean, he might get. There's also the burn chance as well, so you can just keep going out fishing for the burn, doing damage. It's more than the leftovers is recovering. The light screen's good, but it's not that good. We can go for a D-Gleam because for some reason Klefki doesn't get Moonblast. At least that's what Showdown told me. So we go for a D-Gleam. It doesn't do anything. This is obviously Assault Vest Goodra, especially offensive Assault Vest Goodra, which is honestly the best set Goodra to run in most scenarios. So we go for another D-Gleam, bring it down to about 35% health, and then it just goes for one final Flamethrower to finish us off. So that was game. So yeah, kind of there were a few unexpected twists in that game. It was unfortunate when Lopunny got burned. I think I expected the Prankster T-Waves too much. There were times when I wanted to predict switches but couldn't afford to because they were risky plays, and I couldn't afford to be taking possible T-bolts and stuff like that, so I ended up making obvious plays because they were safer, and it ended up being my downfall. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a risk. So yes, that was our battle against RTK. Unfortunately, we pick up a loss, 5-0 loss. At least it wasn't 6-0 though. We did manage to KO the Mamoswine. So yeah, next week's battle is actually against Shroomraver. I know I said that last week, but it is this time. I've checked. It's against Shroomraver, and he has got an insane team. I've got no idea how I'm going to combat it. He's got Zapdos, he's got Gyarados, he has Registeel, he has Uxie, he has Dusclops, he has Sableye, he's got Mega Gallade, Whimsicott as well. I think that's pretty much his entire team. So yeah, scary times are ahead, but I'll give it my best. So thank you for joining me, my PokePadawans. Thank you for joining me, PPL fans. I hope you've enjoyed this episode watching me get trounced by RTK and his not rain team. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.